Hi, Daniel. Good to
Hi.
see you. I promise I will ask you about Fulham, but transfer window. We've heard about Facundo Buonanotte. Is there anything you can tell us about potentially him coming to Leeds?
No, because speculations and rumors I never speak about this, not in outgoings and ingoings. I can tell you in general about our thoughts, what we want to do. And of course, we're also looking perhaps if there is a possibility to strengthen our squad in January. But on this level, you just can't speak about things when everything's is really official and signed and you can confirm anything. And for that, in terms of incomings or outgoings, I can't confirm anything apart from what we have messaged yesterday, the loan of Harry Gray. But apart from this, nothing to speak about today.
In general, then, what are you kind of looking for as far as the sort of player you're going for? Because we know you don't want too big a squad, so what sort of player would you like to see?
Yes, we spoke quite open and honest in the summer about what we wanted to do, and they are also very open about that we wanted to do a bit more in the offense, so creative number 10, winger position. And yes, in the end, then on the last days, we missed out then in these topics. I've said several times that nevertheless, we have developed really, really well as a group, and we're on a good path. We've progressed in the FA Cup into the next round and are also on the Premier League level on a good path in order to achieve our goals. Nothing is achieved yet, but we're on a good path. And for that, we have a good, capable group. But we will just do something if we think, okay, the player improves our squad and also is there with a top character who fits into this group, because we won't risk anything in order to risk our spirit and our togetherness, because this is one of our major skills as well. And for that, the genuine market is always difficult because there are just limited options there. And quite often there's a situation with a player that either a player is not available or it's perhaps sometimes even a bit overpriced. So for that, I'm a bit more reluctant to comment, especially during January. That's a bit more difficult. But if we find a player where we think, okay, character-wise and also from his quality, he could help our group, then we are open to do this and are also looking forward to do this. And not much has changed because there are no major injuries that we have to do something in a special position. It's all performance related, a bit like what we have judged. Also, not too much has changed in comparison to the summer situation, and for that, we'll just be active when we find something where we got the feeling, okay, it even improves the squad.
And you mentioned on players you were close to getting in the summer. One of those, we believe, is Harry Wilson. He's doing so well for Fulham now. Is it frustrating seeing how good he's been doing this season for the team you're playing against on Saturday?
No, I also don't speak about any rumours in the summer or with whom we have spoken. And there were also so many names linked, and also right now are linked. There's not 1% truth in it, and for that I don't comment on any speculations right now. Also not what happened in the summer. What I can confirm is that yes, Harry Wilson is a really good player, and he's playing a fantastic season. It's impressive with goals and assists. His number of end products is very impressive, and I know him since many years, even from my times in Norwich. I can remember I tried to sign him there. Also one season in loan was not to be at this time. Yeah, he's one of the players where we have to be very aware, because Fulham has lots of sweat, especially in the offense. They are in a remarkable form. I think form table really in a top position right now. Also not far away from the positions who are fighting for Europe. We know that we face an informed team, and we have to be at our very best in order to give ourselves a chance to win the next points.
And just finally, that 7-game unbeaten run and that incredible game, unfortunately in defeat at Newcastle. But how good a time is it right now to be a Leeds fan with all that positivity that's come into this new year?
It's always a great time to be a Leeds fan, even in the tough times, because sometimes you can't choose and you have to be with the club through thick and thin, and in the good times, in the bad times. But of course, we've worked so hard to be back in the top flight, and also we have worked so hard to hopefully establish this club for good, and also like not just for one good season. We want to establish us on the top flight, and want to make sure that this club plays also on the longer term where it belongs, and it belongs to the Premier League. And we know that in the last 2.5 decades it was not that often the case, and for that exciting times ahead. But there's no reason not to stay humble. There's no reason to lose the ground under our feet. We know we have to work pretty hard further on in order to achieve really our goal to stay in this league. And for that, nothing is achieved yet. We have to win many more points.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel. Daniel, one of the names out there, Wilson's been out there before. I suppose the question is, you've looked at that sort of player for a little while, but things have changed a little bit in the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks. Why is there still a need, maybe, in your mind to go, or is there still a big need for you to go and get that sort of player?
There is no need to be afraid of quality players. And for that, each and every player who has a top quality and also top character who could help us is important for us. And so for that, yes, we are a bit thin in terms of perhaps creative offensive players, a bit like this winger number 10 position. Yeah, we spoke about this for a little while. And yes, we have, of course, changed the setup a little bit, but I would also label it as a rumor that we have played recently just over 3-5-2, because way more often we have played in the 3-4-3 anyhow, and just with one proper striker. It's not like we play right now with 2 target men all the time anyhow. So for that, even in this setup, you need players who can make things happen, who can play a creative pass, who can create chances, who deliver end products and goals. And several times even we have positioned also perhaps even a bit more naturally defensive-minded players in these positions, and it was also not too bad. Anton Stach, for example, has played this role also excellent away at Newcastle. But if you find, for example, a specialist on such a position who brings something that we don't have to the squad, it's definitely beneficial. But it doesn't mean it's more or less a new signing comes in and he has straight away a position guaranteed, or a player who has done really well will lose his position anyhow. It would be just good for the competition if we can add some quality, but we will just do this if we are 100% convinced that it helps us as a group, and that's the situation.
Dan, I was listening to Harry Gray once he made his loan move to Rotherham yesterday, and he's made it quite clear that he felt that he needed more than youth team football. What's your feelings about his move, and why is it beneficial for everybody that it happens?
Yes, I'm delighted, and I think it's a perfect first loan move for Harry in general. I can give you my feelings about how a young player should be developed, and for me, it's always it should happen step by step. So it's more or less when on the youth level, it's more or less like you're outgrown your age group and you're too good for your age group. For example, if you're too good for the under 16, then you are moved, for example, to the under 18, and if you outgrow them, then you are moved already to the under 21. And if you are then there with impressive performances in training and games, then you train regularly with the first team. And if you then, after a few months of first team training, you made it straight away into the starting lineup or in having many minutes on first team level, that's a perfect way. We had this more or less with Harry's brother Archie. It was exactly this pathway, and then you don't have to think about the loan. But if a player is then regularly for a few months also training with the first team and still plays on youth level, but will also struggle to get perhaps even more minutes for first team football, then it makes sense to think about the loan, because where you really develop, it's always when you play senior football, because with all respect, it's a different animal, senior football, in comparison to youth level. And on this level, you then work more or less like with guys who are grown up, who are whatever family fathers, and where you have to show maturity, and it's so good for the personality, and especially also like for a young striker with so much potential like Harry, and has also scored goals more or less for fun on youth level. But right now you have to earn your step by step each and every league, and this is, for example, then also I think a perfect spot right now, a chance for him to shine, that he is ready, also physically ready already for, then perhaps in this case, and also League One level, or it could also be League Two level. And if you have then shown, okay, you are ready for this level, then you can speak about, okay, right now perhaps Championship, and if you then have delivered on this level, then you speak about Premier League. This is more or less a normal pathway, and there is no way for shortcuts. You have to earn this step by step, and this is more or less where we always try to follow this route for all our young talents. And also in this case with Harry, I think in his age, and just 17, it makes also sense that it's not abroad or far down in the south. It's more or less where he still has a bit this surrounding of his family and his mother club. But on the other hand, also like that, right now he has to mature in a bit, tough environment where he has to grow up and anyhow also physically, and if he is ready for this challenge, then the next steps can follow. But for me, it's also like the perfect chance for him to mature and also to get physically ready as a striker. And for that, we got the feeling it's a perfect scenario for him.
And this weekend against Fulham, Bornau obviously was struggling with his adductor, I believe, at the end of the game. There was no Road on, there was no Goodmanson in the squad last time out, and Bogle as well. Where are we at with all four of those players ahead of the Fulham game, please?
Yeah, it looks much better. They are all available. Sebastian also better than expected after the game. Also with us since yesterday, back in training. So it was just a little problem with his adductor, not too bad. He should be available if nothing major happens. Also, like in the upcoming 2 days. Joe Roden also back in training, was just precaution and also not a problem for him. Gabby Goodmanson much needed break and was I think good for him also like to get a bit of rest, also back in training. Jaden Bogle also back in training with us since yesterday. So yes, lots of competition. Just Daniel James is on his way in the rehab, also not too far away, hopefully from team training. So at the moment it looks good, and it seems like we have all back in contention for the game.
Fulham as well, Daniel. They not long ago seemed to be within reach of the sort of lower portions of the division. Now they've shot up with a really good run. What's in your mind has been responsible for their revival, if you like?
A bit more efficiency in terms of bringing their really good game. It was also they showed many good performances in the beginning of the season, really into points. I think they have shown this over the last years, also with consistency. Have improved a lot under Marco. Really good football side. Many threats in the offense. Lots of vertical play. Lots of players who can deliver end products. Really good quality, and Stephanie a side who is also in the contention to fight for the positions in Europe. You will always have sometimes wobbles in terms of perhaps your form, but especially in terms of results on this level. And yes, perhaps in the beginning of the season they didn't have the results they normally would have deserved for their performances, but they have right now also translated their really good performances into impressive results. So many games unbeaten right now, many impressive wins also against the top sides. And I think when you have a look in the form table, the last 5 games, for example, they're sitting even position 3. So very good football side, and we need to be well structured in order to take away their football skills and make sure that we don't allow them to use their skills to create chances and to score goals. And yes, on the other hand, then also we want to make sure that we are a threat in the offense and that we also produce many chances, many goals like we've done also in the last games. And if we do so, then we also have a chance then hopefully to win as many points as possible also in this important home game.
Hi Daniel, just developing on that point, when you consider that Fulham have been a side that have bounced up and down from Championship to Premier League and seem to be really establishing themselves now, are there things that you can look at from the side you're in your position, the way they've done things, and take things from that to try and add to your own situation?
Consistency in their approach, consistency also like on the key positions, starting also with the manager. Marco has done an unbelievable job for him, was never in doubt his quality as a manager, and it's always then difficult, more or less, of course, if you promote, to keep them in this league. They have done this in the first attempt of asking. Meanwhile, they have developed also to established Premier League side again, because it's not like this up and down. It's more or less they develop step by step with consistency. Also no shortcuts. It's not like one unbelievable season and then more or less a drop back. It's a very healthy development that they have shown, and they have done this with also then ambitious signings step by step. Really, they have added quality into a squad who has more or less the core bone still there, but then step by step they have developed also the squad. And meanwhile, a really, really dangerous Premier League side who is also ready to fight for the positions in the top half of the table. And really impressive what they have done over the last years.
And there's been so much talk about goalkeepers at Leeds United this season, and obviously with the change last week as well, that's kind of reignited it for some people. What is your thought process at the moment in terms of how you decide on that particular position?
Yes, I totally agree. There was so much talking about goalkeepers, and I'm not tempted today to speak again too much about it, because it feels like whatever in the last 12 months we had. Feels like 10 press conferences just about the goalkeeper position. I'm a bit tired out of it. You know, I'm always there for being open and honest and transparent and with clarity. This is also why last week I spoke also open and honest about what I see and what our demands are and how I judge the situation. But I don't want to do this on the weekly base in general. So it's just clear we are working in an elite environment. We are working in an elite league and in the best league in the world, and there you have to deliver on all positions. If it's a goalkeeper, if it's an outfield player, if it's a manager, if it's a coaching staff member, if it's a staff member, you have to deliver. If you don't deliver, then you will be criticized and you have to handle the criticism. For that, we are working in too much of an elite environment. This is a normal situation. The message is also clear. But I don't want to speak too much about individual positions right now, and especially also not about whatever starting lineup or whatever. It's a good situation. We just have one player not available from our group. That's Daniel James, because he's an individual re-up, and all the others are in competition. There's no position guaranteed. You have to deliver in the games. You have to deliver on the training pitch, and if you do so, then you have a chance to be in the starting lineup or to travel with the group, and if not, then there's a chance for a different player. That's a scenario. That's a scenario for field players, but also for goalkeepers.
Hi, Daniel. What can you sort of pinpoint that your players were doing well during that 7-match unbeaten run, and how confident are you of kicking off another run similar to that after the Newcastle game?
Many things. Just one aspect wouldn't be enough in order to win points and to stay unbeaten on this level. Yes, if you look on the objective data's unbelievable physical output. We are the team. If you sum it up in terms of total distance, high speed distance, numbers of sprints, high intensity runs, we are really top in the league. So our fitness level is crucial. Also our soft skills. To be there with a great team spirit and a great resilience, strong mentality. Also to be able to turn games and to come back out of losing positions is quite crucial. Quality of the individual players, and also our quality, especially in the last weeks, to create chances and to score goals. We have scored an impressive amount of goals. Had also a clean sheet during this spell. Could have worked there a bit more effective in terms of perhaps conceding even a bit less, and I think perhaps our point tally would be even better. There's something we haven't allowed much chances for the opponent, but I think it's perhaps possible also to concede even a few less goals. This is more or less the aim, also like for the upcoming weeks, and then we have also a chance to start hopefully another unbeaten run.
And what do you think of Marco Silva as a coach? What do you see as his qualities and what he's done at Fulham?
Yes, he's working in the best league in the world. And the best league in the world, you have to have proper skills as a manager. I've always rated him as a top manager. Really, really nice guy. It's always great to see him when we are even a few years ago in manager meetings. And it's always a pleasure because he's a relaxed guy, and there's so much knowledge. I just have to watch his team playing football. You see always his handwriting. I like the way he sets up his teams. I like the way his team is brave and creative and capable to create chances. Top coach on this level, and he's proving this over years right now with Fulham. So I don't believe too much in managers who have shown this perhaps for a few months or a few weeks. You have to show this with consistency, and this is what he does in the game over several years, and for that he deserves lots of praise.
Hi Daniel, I know you're not going to find another Dominic Calvert-Lewin in January particularly, but would you like another centre-forward for your squad, or do you feel that would be too greedy?
Well, if I tell you a secret, I'm always greedy anyhow and can't get enough of points and quality players. I'm never scared of quality. It's just like important to make the right decisions anyhow, what is healthy and good for the group. So I'm never afraid of quality and also numbers of quality. You need competition. On the other hand, you have to make sure that the group is not too big and the players who are there also feel trusted and backed, because sometimes it could be also the case that too many options are then not beneficial for the team spirit and also for the self-confidence of the players. If you always got the feeling, okay, if I don't deliver in one game and then I have to wait for 8 weeks on the stand, it could be also sometimes a burden on the shoulders of the players. And for that we have to make good decisions. What we do with the squad, but I would never rule out also a quality signing. That's also for sure.
I don't wish to tempt fate, but you haven't had a red card since Elland's vicious assault on the Preston player. Being in the Premier League and having less possession, VAR, how impressive is it that your side haven't gone that way yet? And is it something that you focus on with the team?
Touch wood. Hopefully you don't jinx it anyhow. So I'm pretty proud of this, because it's a sign of how disciplined my players are and how well behaved and we have to play always with fire in the heart, but it's also important not to lose head and to be there with somehow stupid decisions on the pitch or to react over emotional. I think I'm pretty proud that my players are then really in these situations really calm and switch on, and also says perhaps even a bit about the quality of our performances, because we were not brought too often in situations where just a tactical foul and perhaps even a late foul in the last moment would then be the only help in order to stop a player from scoring. Anyhow, I think it says also a little bit about that. It's not like one wave after another is just on our goal. I think it says a bit also about the quality of our play. So first, the discipline and the mentality of the players, but also the quality of how we behave, and we're always speaking about that a little detail can make the difference on this level, and perhaps 1 or 2% will make a difference if you win a game or if you lose a game. And if you would have to play for many minutes in underload, for example, it's not just a little difference, it's in many percents, and if you keep going and always playing in underload, it doesn't help your chances to win points. And for that, I think it's a basic behavior to make sure that you are then there with hopefully no red cards and are on it, and touch wood, hopefully it continues for such a long time also in the future.
Hi Daniel. Just on Harry Gray and on Rotherham as a club, a few have mentioned that Rotherham in bottom of League One, relegation zone, but it's also close to the club as well. Why did you and your team feel that Rotherham was a good place and a good setup for Harry to go to continue his development?
Yeah, like I mentioned, first of all, it's good to be on your own and to grow up also in your personality and your behavior anyhow, where if you arrive in the first team as a youth player, you are more or less during your whole career as a youth player a superstar, because otherwise you will never arrive to train with the Premier League side. So that means from the age of 6 you're always praised, everyone speaks about your talent, you play each and every game, you are more or less too good for your age group, you have not real competition anyhow, and you never has experience, I have to fight for my position, I have to fight for my place. You're just always a bit in cut and roll. Also then on youth level, the coaches of the youth team know about the potential and what we can do, and we have to develop this player. They're a bit careful and sometimes sugarcoat a player and put him into cut and roll. And then it's important when you arrive at the reality, and the reality is in senior football, that you are also ready for the challenges and you can deal with setbacks, and you can deal when it's not just straightforward, you are still further on the superstar and you have to fight for these positions. And this is just if you learn it in this way. And for that, it makes no sense to let you play further on youth level, where you're playing with your age group and you find it easy to score goals. It's more like, you have to, as a striker, for example, have to win duels and score goals against mature players, against family fathers anyhow, with kids who are also there with some trash talk and some dirty fouls anyhow, and this is how you grow up, and this is quite important. And for that, I also like such a setup, and on the other hand, you also have to find a club where it's not too easy, and you learn this, but where you also have a chance to play. That's also for sure. Though there must be also a club who is interested, and it's not like we can choose where we send them. So it's also important that a club also is interested and gives him perhaps also the opportunity to fight for his position and earn his place. If, for example, we would have had a team who is fighting whatever in the championship for promotion and create chance after chance, and would have had a chance to play there, we probably would have sent him there. But it was also not to be. So for that, you need both sides. So first, where we think, okay, it's a good place for him, but on the other side, there has also be interest. So we can't send Harry Gray to a club where the other club doesn't want to take him. And so and for that, I think under these circumstances, we have then hopefully find a good solution. And we just can bring him to the door. Right now, it's up to him to go through the door. And if he can deliver there on League One level, then also in this environment, then you can also earn perhaps then also like the right for even higher opportunities. And this is what he hopefully makes sure right now in the upcoming month.
It looks like one might be coming through the door potentially. How confident are you that you might get more than one player over the course of January?
I'm very confident that we won't have a major turnaround. So we had a big turnaround in the summer, and I'm not tempted. We have done really, really well to bring 6 players in and to send 6 players out. We definitely won't extend the group. We have lost right now one player with Harry Gray from our first team, or at least who is training with the first team. Of course, he was not involved in too many minutes. But one thing is for sure, we won't extend the group anyhow, because I think we have a proper amount of players, and we won't extend it to 30 outfield players. So for that, I don't expect that 6 new players will come in and 6 players will go out. There is always space for 1, 2, perhaps 3 positions. But I would also rule out that we do more, because for that we are on way too much. We are way too much on a really good path, and we don't want to risk also to stay on it, because the core bones are good, and the core direction is good, and for that it won't be a major overhaul.
Hi Daniel. Hypothetically, if you'd agreed a transfer with the player, and at the 11th hour they change their mind, or another club comes in and takes that player away, in the future, does that raise questions for you about their desire or their commitment about playing for you again in the future, perhaps?
For the player, you mean?
Yeah, so if the player has virtually agreed a deal with you, hypothetically,
yes,
and then they change their mind at the last minute and go somewhere else, what does that plant in your mind for the future?
Yes, all thing matters, but if we speak right now about a few rumors perhaps in the last summer, I would also recommend not to believe each and every detail of rumors that were out. In general, I also have to say I'm also quite happy that we are also, in this case, I would be happy that we are interested in player, and we are not the only club who is interested in players. So it's always a good sign if also other clubs want to sign the players that you are interested in, because normally it's a sign of that's a quality player. And if there is competition for a player, I rather prefer this situation in comparison to a situation where no other club wants to have these players, because then you're probably also there with heading into the wrong direction. And in general, it always happens always is important how the conversation was, how the situation actually was, also how the conversation with the player was. And for me, it also differs if you speak perhaps also an 18-year-old player, perhaps when you speak about a loan movement and he's more or less on the way to mature, or if you speak with a 29-year-old player about a permanent move, and then you're close to signing, and then he changed his mind. I think younger players are, of course, and sometimes a bit more influenced with emotions, and there are also other interests from other sides and from agents. I think you can't judge it in general. It always depends on what has happened anyhow. But I'm also a manager. When I got the feeling, okay, someone didn't want to come to us, and I feel hard done by, I could also be stubborn and annoyed anyhow, and this would also matter for in several terms in my for my future decisions also regarding these players. But I'm also open, anyhow, when there is a young player and also explains the situation, to give, for example, a second chance, anyhow. So I think a good balance is always needed. But one thing is for sure, it's not like we as Leeds United have, more or less to pray a player, anyhow, and please come, anyhow. This is what I would never do, anyhow. We wouldn't just players here at the club who are desperate to join us, and for that we are too big as a club and too important as a club. Instead of that, we back a player to come. Of course, sometimes it's a bit more difficult and takes a bit more time to convince a player. Player of the caliber of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for example, who has proven his class, and there are many clubs around who would have liked to sign him. Of course, sometimes it lasts a bit longer and you have to invest a bit more, so to convince him. But overall, we are definitely not a club who backs players to play for us. Anyhow, we are meanwhile also in the position where we don't have to do this, and many agents and many people would like to play for Leeds United, and we can afford meanwhile also to be a bit picky.
VAR has been in the headlines again this week with what's happened in the League Cup. So as a manager, do you want to keep VAR in the medium to long term? And if you do, is there one thing you might want to change about it?
Oh, it's a difficult topic, and also not something I have really strong thoughts. I know the advantages and disadvantages. I think in the moments when it definitely makes our game better in terms of decision making, when there is a clear and obvious mistake, I think we should use VAR. I think it makes the outcome fairer. Normally, when we speak about offside situations, it should be possible also with the technique. If there's a mistake with the technique, or we have to do it with a hand-drawn line, then I have also my doubts if this definitely makes sense. If you can guarantee that it's then really like an objective and neutral outcome, then I'm a big friend then in this moments to use VAR to reduce and perhaps the mistakes of human beings, knowing that sometimes it can also take a bit the emotions out of the game. So there are other people to decide about this topic. I think we should use it in the way to overturn obvious major mistakes, and otherwise we shouldn't use it.